What's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here. And like I keep telling y'all, the more and more I think about it, I just really get frustrated. And I was actually able to pull up some evidence, which I'm about to play in a minute. The more and more frustrated I get with this Kamala Harris presidential pick. Like, again, I told y'all, I predicted everything. I predicted this day would come. If you go back and check my videos. And I also predicted that no one would challenge her because she's a woman. This whole feminist thing has allowed women to just move to the front of the line without proving any type of qualifications or proving that they're the best candidate for the job. I told you Gavin Newsom wasn't going to challenge her. Pete Buttigieg, no reputable Democrat was going to challenge her because liberals are just so emotional and they operate off of what do you call identity politics. I keep telling y'all, the next president that they're going to put up after they achieve getting a black woman in is going to be getting a handicapped person. Well, no, the LGBTQ candidate will come next and then a handicapped person. But before I jump into what I'm going to say, watch this video of Kamala Harris, what she has to say about black people's interests, specifically reparations. And this kind of aligns with Obama's policies as well. So I know a lot of y'all who like to jock ride Obama, you're not going to care about this video, but I do, and I'm going to explain why. So let's check out the video.
Do you support reparations for black people? Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
This lies the problem with candidates like Kamala Harris. Number one, she's the playbook from Barack Obama. And that's why I kind of didn't want to vote for Barack. And I'll kind of summarize it real quick here because I've said it thousands of times before. The only black people that white people are going to accept are diluted black people. And black people in America, you got to start waking up and start rejecting and pushing back. And you got to start getting hot and mad about this type of stuff. They're only going to accept the light-skinned black who aligns and is going to go against a black agenda. And I'm not trying to say you have to be totally militant. You have to be Malcolm X or Farrakhan on the stage, because we know that person cannot get elected with that type of attitude. But once again, all it's going to take is you have to pass the brown paper bag and the cone test. It still applies in America today. Colorism is still in effect in America today. When you watch television, specifically black women, let's just talk about black women, because a lot of black women are just jock riding Kamala Harris is so hard. They're really on her bra strap. And I don't know why. I know why, but I don't know why. They're operating too emotional. But when you think about it, You have to look at the play. When you watch television, the only black women that you really see getting the roles, and I'm talking about big screen. I'm not talking about Tyler Perry movies. I'm not talking about these BET or TV One movies. I'm talking about when you look at big production movies, you just see really it's going to be Tandy Newton, Carmody Jogo, Halle Berry, and then occasionally you're going to get a brown skinned female, but that brown skinned female has to be extravagant looking. She has to be a perfect 10 in order to get those roles. And when you look at the kids on television, the next generation, they're always going to show you a black woman with a white man. So automatically, by bona fide operating qualifications, and I keep telling y'all about that word BFOQ, they're leaving the justification to hire in a light-skinned black female with curly hair. If you ever watch television and notice, if you ever see a mixed, quote unquote, mixed family, white man, black woman, because that's all they're really going to show you. But even if they show you a black man with a white woman, the son is always darker than the daughter. When you look at those offspring on television, you're always going to see them cast. They don't care that the son doesn't meet the comb test or the brown paper bag test, but they care about the girl. Because everyone assumes that a woman is supposed to have long flowing hair. And so this ties in with the Kamala thing because, once again, Barack Obama, the only way we could get a black man in office is if he was light skinned. Now the only way you're going to get your first black woman is if she's light skinned. They passed over Stacey Abrams. They just basically took a big dump on her because she should have been the vice president, but she didn't pass the brown paper bag test. She didn't pass the comb test, and she didn't pass the looks test overall. Let's just be honest about that. Her weight, her skin color, her hair type, the way she wore hair, possibly even her teeth. And I'm not making fun of her, so please don't view this as me taking shots at her. This is just me bringing up a reality that the way you look matters. That Chris Christie gets it from white people too. White people do not like heavyset people at all. Chris Christie gets it. He took the gastric bypass. I know he did have a medical procedure to help him with his weight, and he still hasn't gotten down slim. But let's even get past that and get to this video that I played. Kamala Harris is the same as Barack Obama. So this is what I mean. When you look at when you're underneath a white president versus underneath a black president, when I say we, I'm talking about Main Street. I'm talking about black people that live in everyday society. I'm not talking about the black elites. I'm not talking about the Jay-Z's and Beyoncé's and Puffies that get invited to the White House and get to meet the president and hang out with the president. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the regular, everyday people. What did you get under Barack Obama? You got nothing. Barack wouldn't even meet with the Congressional Black Caucus. And what did Barack say? A rising tide lifts all boats. What did you just hear Kamala Harris say? I'm not going to do anything specific for reparations. She basically said no to reparations. She's not down with it. And she's basically saying that a rising tide will lift all boats. And here's the part that pisses me off with these people. They automatically assume they're just like white people. When I say they, I'm talking about people like Barack Obama and people like Kamala Harris. They assume that all black people are ignorant, are poor, lazy, have motherless children out of wedlock. They just lump us into all one category. So they say, well, I'm going to pass policy that's going to give money to anybody making less than $100,000. And that's going to help out all the poor black people. Why does she have to say poor black people? How do you know they're poor? Maybe they make 98,000. Maybe they make 75. But even me bringing that up, that's beside the point. The point of the matter is, when you're passing policies like that, there's only 40 million black people in this country. There are like 200 million white people. So her policy actually helps white people more. It helps those white people in West Virginia, those white people in Pennsylvania. It helps those white people in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. It helps those people are poor as hell too. So those are the people. See, she's just helping out those people. And let's just be honest too. Let's be clear. And I'm going to say something that's probably going to make some people offended, but I'm going to speak the truth. There's a reason why a lot of people are poor. You're going to have those outliers of people who actually tried to start a business and they had a setback. So now, they lost everything that they had. You're going to have those outliers of people who are disabled and can't function for themselves, and they're adults. Maybe they have autism. Maybe they have some type of mental disability. Don't know. Maybe they were traumatized when they were young. I get those, and I'm not speaking on those people. I'm speaking on the people who are just they just can't get their life together. They don't have good time management. They don't have good financial skills. They don't have good they're not financially literate. They don't manage their money well. They don't manage their time well. They're not disciplined enough to save. Her creating tax breaks for those individuals, and those are typically going to be your individuals that are below $100,000. So by you helping them out, what do you think those people are going to do? As soon as they get that extra money, they're just going to go out and buy some new Jordans with it. They're just going to go out and they're going to buy a brand new car. They're going to get more and more in debt and then wind up begging the system to help them out. Or they're going to go out and have more babies, and then they're going to wind up begging the system to get them out. But what about the people like me who make more than $100,000? This is the problem that I say with Democrats. They listen. I personally know somebody, and I think I was going to do a video on it. This person does not have one job. This person is thousands of dollars in debt, just got their debt wiped away by the federal government, by Joe Biden, got their student loan debt wiped away, still going back to school. They done took out more loans because they don't know what they want to do with their life. This person is in their 40s. The person already told me they can't work for other people. I just don't like working for other people. They start school, they drop out. They start school, and then they call me to figure out, to watch some YouTube video on how to make money fast or some multi-level, and then marketing scheme, and then when I bring it up to them, they get mad at me and start telling me, well, everything's a multi-level marketing scheme. These are the type of people that Joe Biden and them give money to. This person got all of their debt wiped away and has restarted brand new debt. Then the person just called me a couple of weeks ago and was like, yeah, I got $5,000 put into my account. And I'm like, wow, how did you get that? He said, I don't know. I don't know where the money came from. Then when I asked them again, they said, oh, the money was stimulus money. Now, mind you, once again, this person does not work. This person has not had a job in years, and they got $5,000 stimulus from the federal government. Here I am, a working adult, but because I make too much money, mind you, $100,000 is too much money to the federal government. And according to Kamala Harris, it is too much money. So, but ask somebody who makes $100,000. Ask somebody who makes $200,000. Matter of fact, you're talking to one. Ask somebody, can you live off of $200,000? Yeah, if I was in Alabama, yes. But when you're in big time cities that are up north or even on the West Coast, like San Francisco or Seattle, $200,000 is nothing. And you struggle, especially if you're single and you have kids, you struggle. That money, you're not living high off the hill and buying brand new cars every week. You have just enough money to save and invest and wash, rinse, repeat, and buy your groceries. And, not to say that you're struggling living paycheck to paycheck, but you're not living some extravagant lifestyle. Not unless you're borrowing money and you're just spending your money blowing it fast. But I'm bringing that up to say this. I can't even get a tax write-off underneath Joe Biden and underneath Kamala Harris. I can't even get a write-off for my students' college bills. I can't even claim they tell me you make too much money to even claim anything. But once again, Kamala Harris wants to penalize Black middle-class individuals because they make too much money. She doesn't want to help out the responsible Black people that can actually start a business and hire those other Black people to work for them, to mentor them. They just want to throw away money and invest in poor people that will remain habitually poor. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit up here and apologize for y'all thinking that I'm putting down poor people, because I am. The probability of those poor people taking that money and doing something so great that it lifts themselves out of poverty is nothing. All of these people, these politicians want to do, like Kamala Harris, is say a rising tide will lift all boats. We're going to help all Americans get an education. Well, when you help all Americans get an education, who do you think that the white person is going to hire? The black person with the degree or the white person with the degree? They're going to hire the white person. Black people, we already know that you have to be 20 times better than white people. It has already been statistically proven that black people that have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree make just about the same money as a white person with a high school diploma. Because once you get out here into the workforce doesn't care really what degrees you have and how many degrees you have. Sometimes the workforce is just about who you know. And especially when it comes to getting promotions. When it comes to getting promotions, it's about who you know and who likes you and who's comfortable working with you on a day-to-day basis. If they're not comfortable with you, you're going to remain an analyst or a rep, and you're just going to remain in the bullpen. But in order to make it into the club, they want to feel comfortable with you. Do you have something in common with them, whether it's race, culture, gender, whatever? Just personality. And a lot of them just don't gravitate towards black individuals. And that's just the honest to goodness truth. And this is why I can't stand the Democrat Party, because unfortunately, you're going to have a lot of black women. They're just blindsided by the fact that Kamala Harris is a black woman. They don't look at it that she's married to a white man. They don't look at it that she doesn't live in black world. She does not live in black world except when it comes time for politics. Then she wants to go to the BET Awards and say they're not like us. I'm out in these streets trying to use code words. They play down to you. That's when you know you're not dealing with an authentic black person, when they got to come to you and hit you with the old, they gotta be a caricature and hit you with the old coonery and come with the hat tilted to the side and start talking to you like they crazy. It's not natural for her to do that. I could see if that was really her character, then it would just really be her character. But it's not. And she's married to a white man. She had the worst laws against black people when she was the district attorney in California. But yet they want us to sign up for this. And she doesn't even believe in giving reparations to black people. We're talking about the black people that were here, that are the descendants of black Americans. We're not talking about giving reparations to the other people who immigrated here. She doesn't even want to do that. Once again, it's this rising tide lifts all boats, and they just think that the best way to make people's boat rise is to continually raise the minimum wage. Well, you raising the minimum wage don't affect me. I make more than the minimum wage. And the minimum wage is technically, as Republicans have stated before, and they have a good argument, the minimum wage is typically for people like high school students. It's really those jobs that are, those bottom rung jobs were typically done by high schoolers. I held those jobs when I was in high school. And the point is to graduate from those positions. Not to say that, working in a fast food restaurant, you don't have career employees, but those career employees should be on salary and taken care of by the organization or the franchisee. You're going to have those full-time managers, full-time regional managers, general managers. Yes, and those positions would be permanent. But those under positions, cashiers and maybe the cooks and so forth, those are going to be designated for high school students. And if you look at the way the world is going, those jobs are being phased out by companies automating the cooking process and automating the way you order. You can go and you order from your app or you order from the kiosk. So they're phasing out those positions. But once again, they just want to continually raise the minimum wage. And that's also been a part of the inflation problem, because the minimum wage is being raised, but salaries from the middle tier is not. People that are making $60,000, your boss isn't saying, okay, you deserve a raise because of inflation. People that are making $80,000, those salaries aren't getting raised. So as the minimum wages continue to get raised, all it does is it's still going to create a housing crisis, because now the people that are making minimum wage can afford the same house that a person in in a salaried position can. I don't make this up. This is classic economics. Go read the book Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. That's one of the first books that you're supposed to read when you're a business person. But Kamala Harris, and I'm ranting on, so I'm going to kind of wrap this up, but she does not have your interests at heart. She's a classic Democrat that doesn't know politics, and moreover, she doesn't care about black people. Barack Obama did not care about black people. Barack Obama, and I know I can see a lot of black people, specifically you liberals. You're probably sitting here fuming, ready to punch your computer while you listen to me, or ready to punch your speaker while you listen to me. But the only thing, when I ask people, what did Barack Obama do for blacks? All I keep hearing about is he let out a bunch of people from prison. And I can say the same thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump freed a lot of people from prison too. He honestly did. I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump, trust me, but I'm pointing out facts. You can even ask one rapper. What was that rapper's name that he pardoned? He pardoned him. It was a black female that was in jail for a long time. She was one of the celebrities. She was just incarcerated for a long time. He freed her, and she became a Trump supporter, or she was appreciative on the news to Trump. He did the same thing. But Barack Obama gives black people welfare politics. He plays welfare politics with blacks. He created the My Brother's Keeper program. What the hell is a My Brother's Keeper program? How's it doing so far, Barack? How many lives have you saved with the My Brother's Keeper program? All it was geared towards was helping poor people read and get an education. That's it. But it doesn't tell you getting an education is nothing in this country, people. What are you going to do with that education? Ask all of the people now. That's why they're writing off people's student loan debts right now, because once you get a degree, some organization has to respect your degree enough to say you're hired. And what I'm telling y'all right now is the way people get jobs is through who you know and who likes you and who identifies with you. And that's the bottom line. That is the honest to God truth. You can get 35 degrees. You can get 50 degrees. It doesn't really matter, not unless you're in the right degree field. I'm telling you, people. But they play identity politics. Like I told you, Barack Obama, all these black people can tell you is that he freed a bunch of black people, and that he, like I told you, he started the My Brother's Keeper program. Okay, that's two things. Tell me something. Oh, and then they're going to say, hey, he stabilized. When he came in, the stock market rose up. Listen, the stock market is going to rise and fall regardless of who's president. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I made a lot more money underneath Donald Trump than I did. And really, that was only because of the pandemic. That year 2020, everybody made money because everything was shut down, everything was closed. So if people couldn't go to Las Vegas to gamble, so everybody just started getting online and started gambling, and everything was popping in 2020. So I'm not going to give Donald Trump all the credit either. It was that year, that 2020, that all of the online related stocks, like if you were in Zoom, if you were in anything that was tech based and based on doing remote work, those stocks popped and people made cash money during that time. Ask anybody who was investing. But what I'm trying to tell y'all is the stock market is going to rise or fall regardless of who is president. So you can't attribute a good stock market year for Obama. You really cannot. And so when you look at Obama's selection for the Supreme Court, which was Sotomayor, it was a Latina female. And trust me, being Latina is not a race. She looks like, I don't know if you can say she's a black Latina, white Latina, or, indigenous American Latina, but I wouldn't say that she's one of us, and she wouldn't claim that she's black. So he gave you a Latina female, and he has a lot of initiatives for the LGBTQ community. There was no policies for blacks. Like, once again, I told y'all, he didn't even want to meet with the Congressional Black Caucus. And I can guarantee you that Kamala Harris is going to play the same playbook. Right now, she's met with the Congressional Black Caucus because right now she's trying to get votes. She's trying to get endorsements and trying to get votes. And black people are going to fall for it. They're going to throw their lot in with her. And then as soon as she becomes president, then she's going to circle right back to this griot this griot ideology and say, I'm not meeting with y'all. I'm meeting with everybody. I'm here to help everybody out. And I'm not trying to say that she has to just be the president of black people. Yes, she's the president of the United States, so she has to be the president of all people. But that doesn't mean that you can't have specific initiatives that help out specific groups that need it. And when you look at America repaid the Japanese Americans that were put in internment camps. They gave them reparations. They gave reparations to the indigenous Americans. And when I say reparations, they really just, I don't know if you want to call it reparations per se, but pretty much they basically said, you can have this land, I guess, in the Northwest, like South Dakota. They have particular land that was given to them. They have their casinos. They're tax free, so you can say that they were compensated. So I won't say reparations, but they were compensated for what they went through, and what they went through was horrendous. They even compensated white slave owners who lost slaves during the reparations. Instead of giving the reparations money to the slaves, they gave it to the slave owners. These are facts, people. I'm not making this stuff up. And so then she wants to sit up here and they want to say that black people aren't due any compensation. I think that that is a disrespectful slap in the face, especially coming from a person who quote unquote says that they're black. But we all know that she goes home to a white man every night. We all know that she doesn't have a black mindset. And it is sad. It is very sad that she will, infiltrate our community, pretend that she's down for black people, and she's going to totally disrespect black people when she gets into office. And this is why I will not vote for Kamala Harris. So this has just been my take on it. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to leave it here, and I want you guys to comment in the comment section. Also hit the like and subscribe button. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. Take care.